Maya, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
It's so lovely to have seen your performance grow from when there was your early performances at Bourne, and then coming through and watching small videos and posts of recitals and things. And yeah, it's amazing that you've come through and already finished a Bachelor of Music. I feel like that's all happened so fast.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I've done my my 3-year bachelor's now at Melbourne Uni at the Conservatorium of Music, and I'm about to start my honours year, which is really exciting and something I'm really looking forward to as an experience.
Yeah, do you have a thesis or a performance element? What's the honours that you're going to do?
Yeah, so I'm doing it in music, majoring in performance. So that comes with 2 major performances throughout the year. So in semester 1, we do a 20-minute concerto, which is a work featuring at least 3 instruments. And then in second semester, we do our 40-minute recital, which is an upgrade from the previous years, which is really exciting.
Okay, how long are the undergrad recitals?
So it goes up in increments. So in first year, you do a 20-minute recital. In second year, you do a 30-minute recital and a 25-minute recital. And then in third year, we did a 30-minute recital.
Okay. Wow. How are you feeling about 40 minutes? That sounds like a long time.
It is a bit, but if you plan it right and you do some longer pieces, suddenly it doesn't feel so long.
Awesome. How did you first get into wanting to specialise as an opera singer?
Yeah, so when I was younger, I wanted to go into musical theatre, and that was something I was really looking forward to. And then my teacher in high school, my singing teacher, came to me being like, I think you'd be really good at classical voice. I think that is something you could do really well in. And as to do VCE, when I did it, there were 2 pathways for voice students. There was the classical pathway and the contemporary pathway. And my teacher knowing that the contemporary pathway was quite a cutthroat, everybody does the contemporary voice pathway, because a lot of people will do it doing pop or rock or jazz, suggested I do the classical voice pathway. So we decided that, and a year before I did my 3-4 in performance, we did a year where I did classical and I started singing it, and I really fell in love with it. I was like, yeah, this is something I'm really good at. This is something I really enjoy doing. I think I could make this work. And so switched it over, and I was like, oh, I think I've hit the jackpot here.
Wow, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then so I've just continued on and gained a further love of this art form and really fallen in love with it, especially with Baroque music. I'm really quite interested in that. That's my passion. One of my favorite composers is Bach. How could you not love Bach? It's just what a master of music he is. Yeah.
How much does Bach write specifically for opera?
Well, he's more of a sacred music, so he writes cantatas, which and the passions, which are more church music, sacred music. Mm-hmm. So he almost wrote a cantata every week of his life when he was working for the church in Leipzig. He wrote an insane amount of music, which we don't actually have all of his music because some of it burnt down and some of it was lost because he was around almost 400 years ago. So massive amount of time. So we only have parts of his work. We still have a very large catalogue of his works, but there are bits missing. But so he doesn't specifically write for opera, but he writes more for classical voice, of course. Mm-hmm. And so it's more words are not appearing to me.
No, it's fine. I've thrown you by calling classical voice opera, but
yeah, it's a wider spectrum. Opera is the main genre, I guess, but that's hard to say, because opera is more of that is what I guess the general public see all classical music as opera, where there are different streams. There's opera, there's art song, but opera is the staged version more. And if you go to a concert, you might see a art song concert or a like more Baroque music, just music that was written in that style, but it's not like an aria or anything.
Yeah, sure.
In the typical, it's staged, it's from an opera. But no, yeah, Bach wrote a lot for voice, and I always say that Bach wrote for the voice like a string instrument because he often doesn't give you much time to breathe. And then, of course, he wrote for strings like he did for keyboard. So it's like finding the balance.
Oh, okay. Wow. What drew you the most to like Bach's music, and what is it that you love about it?
It's just such beautiful music. It's the harmonies and the texture of the music is just, it's so like beautiful. There's just such a mesh of sound, and he wrote so much, and he had such an influence on other composers like Mozart and Beethoven and all those that follow, because he was just like so good at writing all those, the counterpoint and the harmony. He really like had a really great understanding of it, and it's just such like beautiful. The melodies are just gorgeous, and it's I just love it.
That's awesome. How does that fit into like I suppose like the contemporary space of like classical music in Australia? Would that be like, I don't know, something that is more of like a passion project where you would put on like solo recitals or something? Like how can you perform that music that you love now?
Well, oftentimes around Easter, one of Bach's passions will be performed. So there are two passions which we have, the St. John and the St. Matthew Passion, and they are, of course, all about the death of Jesus and the resurrection. And so that normally gets put on either a few times throughout Melbourne, Australia, because it is just a work that is done, and often it's one of the only times of the year you can do it if you're doing it either in a liturgical sense or just because it makes the most sense to do it around Easter.
Yeah, sure.
But solo recitals and concerts are often either with like, especially with Baroque music like Handel and Bach. Handel also wrote operas, so they get performed. But like if you're doing some of his just songs, you can also just put it on as a recital. I did a concert with a few friends over the last week in January, and you choose your repertoire and you put it together. You work with your accompanist, you work with your group to try and either create a theme or just do pieces that you really like, and you just make it. I don't want to say just make it work, but like, but like it. I guess it takes a lot of research and like thinking about, how can I make all of these pieces that I want to do have a theme? Oftentimes, I'll use my own recitals. Like in uni, for example, I will do a lot of pieces that I like, and then oftentimes I'll be like, oh no, how am I going to connect them all together? Because is there actually a common theme here? So it's going through all the pieces and with your translations and the moods and how you're singing the pieces, I guess, and what they mean, and going, there is a theme here, but it's putting them in the right order that it makes sense. Mm-hmm. Or trying to make us, if you're doing a bunch of pieces that aren't from one opera, if it's not an opera, if you're just doing a recital, it is often nice to have like a storyline throughout your pieces, to have like some sort of like order that you can get a story from pieces that aren't connected at all. My theme of my last recital at uni in 2024 was love, death, and madness, because I had quite a few pieces that connected to love, death, and madness, but in very different ways. I had a lot of pieces. Some were about love for a parent, or love, romantic love or platonic love, and I was doing some songs written on the text of Ophelia's songs, Madness songs, from Hamlet, and then I was doing some Bach arias, which are all about death. So it's finding a path through them to connect it. So maybe you're starting with love, and that becomes maybe rejected love. Maybe it becomes like this person has gone mad because of rejected love, and then they wish for death. I was doing a Bach aria called Ich wünschte mir den Tod, which means I would wish for death. Of course, being Bach, it was sacred, so the full text was if I would wish for death if you, Jesus, did not love me. But I guess it is more, Bach is more of a spiritual, but it can be sung by anyone. There is a message in there. Yes, it is a religious piece, but the melodies are just gorgeous. And yes, you have to understand it from understand that it is a religious piece for some people. Well, and perform it with care and with knowing how spiritual it is for people. But it would be you connect it and it just makes sense in a way. I guess you just find a way to connect the pieces you're doing, I guess, so it doesn't feel like there's any sort of disconnect or this piece doesn't really suit the mood of every other thing. And then maybe if you are planning it and you haven't left it to the last minute to decide your order or what you're doing, going, maybe I'm not going to perform this piece because maybe it doesn't fit the vibe I'm going for. But yeah, it's just about creating stories.
That's lovely. Like the artistic creation and curation of music to I know it's really creative, not just from a performance perspective, but also how you're going to weave different themes of different pieces together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you write I don't know, a liner notes or programs rather than speak like a more contemporary artist might between songs?
So we would use program notes. So you might write a little blurb either about every individual piece or an overall thematic statement, I guess, and being this is what I'm performing, this is why I'm doing it, this is how I got basically from here to there, or A to B, and that's it's writing a note so also the audience understands how you got there, because that is so important, because you might understand how you're getting from one song to the first song to the last song, but the audience is just going to be well, how did you get there? So it's bringing them along for the ride as well, so it makes sense.
What's it like for you, before we started recording, you were talking about how you keep calling your concerts gigs, but really they're performances. But you've grown up around jazz and contemporary music. How much has the entering the classical scene and establishing yourself there, I don't know, been a new, different, conflicting or positive experience from the jazz scene to the classical one?
Yeah, so I have grown up in a family of jazz musicians, and I am absolutely so proud of my heritage. I love it. I love that I've grown up in a very, I guess, different environment to a classical, but I don't know if it's actually that different. I mean, in Melbourne, the Melbourne scene is just everyone's connected. No matter what sort of music you do, everyone knows everyone, basically. And depending on who you ask, I've either gone to the light side or the dark side by taking on classical music and studying it. But I don't think it's that much of a change. I think all musicians are most of the time genuinely good people and just a welcoming community. Yes, I guess it's a bit different. The lingo can be a bit different. What you're doing, of course, is different. It's not, I'm going to go play at a jazz bar and sing classical, but I guess that could also be a fun experience. I think always nice to bring a bit of a mix to both crowds. But it is, I guess, more different venues is the only option, but I guess there is some crossover too. But it's, I guess, more you'll often more times hear classical music or in like recital centers or like concert halls, but there are small classical performances. Sometimes you'll see them at art galleries. Sometimes you'll see them. Tempo Rubato is a big one. 45 Downstairs. So there is a bit of crossover there because I'm sure other musicians also play at Tempo Rubato and like 45 Downstairs and the Butterfly Club. All of these places. It is a shared space, and I think that we have to like acknowledge that like it is whether you do contemporary or classical, jazz, rock, pop, opera, we all are in the same musical sphere in Melbourne and Australia. It is one scene. It really doesn't matter what type of music you do. We're all in it together, I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's so nice to hear that from you. Like, because you're one of the like younger guests on the podcast, so it's like in early phases of your career, but also you've had like a full life of being involved in the music scene. And it's so lovely to hear you speak about it like that, because you're so right. Everybody knows each other. And even though maybe the like scene or the genre is different, there's still so much like similarity and everybody knows everybody. And I just love the positivity that you have for it.
Yeah, thank you.
What is like the very first memory that you have of music?
I think it is, it's a very early memory. I'm very, very young, and I think it's mostly from watching like home movies of myself is like me standing in front of the stage and my dad, Mal, and I think my grandpa, Bob, are on stage and they're playing and I'm there and I'm like standing and I'm dancing in front in front of the stage, because when I don't know, like jazz at the park and everything, you'll see all these like young kids who have come with their families to watch it. They'll all get up and they'll dance in front, and I think that is just such like a joyous like moment. I think that is such like a great thing to like have these kids who maybe they don't listen to jazz at home all the time, or maybe they do, I don't know, but they'll just get up on the grass and stand in front and just dance to music because it's good music. It's just enjoyable music. And I know I've always been told that by my parents that I was dancing in nappies to James Brown from the moment I could stand up, and so I think I've been well influenced by growing up around jazz musicians in my tastes, and with Miles Davis and Sonny Rollins and Ella Fitzgerald always playing in the house, James Brown, like
yeah,
I've just always been surrounded by music, and I think that has influenced me as well. Because I love music. I have a really eclectic taste in music, and I love performing music. It's just such a joyous thing. It's such a wonderful thing to do. Music can be just such an uplifter. Music really, I think, does affect mood. If it's a sad piece and it's really emotional, that can really affect you. And if it's a happy piece, if it's joyous, it will, I guess, for like simpler terms, it will make you feel happy. It will make you feel like elated. It'll make joyful, uplifting music. Yeah, just music has such a massive effect on people's moods, and I don't know. I think it's just such a wonderful thing that I guess music exists.
Do you still make time for yourself to like enjoy music as a listener, separate to your performance life?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm constantly listening to music. I don't think I could survive without listening to some music every day. And I don't just listen to classical. I listen to all sorts. I listen to things on the radio. I listen to jazz. I listen to classical. And often when I'm looking for a new piece to sing, or if I am researching pieces that I want to sing, I will listen to different versions of the pieces and decide whether I like it. But I think everyone, and myself included, should take time to listen to music without like an analytical perspective, or you're just listening to it or performing it to make it like to perform it or to listen.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, yeah, I listen to music and I make time to listen to it without like a goal in mind, I guess.
Yeah, sure. Just for pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you told us a little bit about how like you sort of found the classical voice thing. What was the like pathway between just like, enjoying music and then finding that you could sing and developing your voice, and, potentially like this earlier passion for music theatre?
Yeah, so I always was told I had a really lovely voice by family and friends, and I started getting singing lessons in primary school, and I was also part of the Young Australian Broadway Chorus. A couple of my primary school friends were in it, and so I went for a trial session with them, really enjoyed it, and did that for many years. And yeah, it was just a great time. I enjoyed it. I love. I guess musicals are just so joyful as well. Like, I guess Disney movies, they're musicals. My parents used to take me to theatre shows that came to Melbourne. I think I've been going to like theatre shows for a while, and when I was really into wanting to do musical theatre, I would go and see most of the musicals that would be in the town that year. And yeah, I just fell in love with it, and like that was the sort of pathway I took, is like going, wow, I really want to do this. It's sort of like being inspired by people I've seen or people I've heard, and going, wow, I really want to do this, or like just discovering that like this is really fun to do. And I think having fun is a really important part of it, because as soon as it becomes a chore, it loses that enjoyment. You have to still keep like the passion, and I guess for like, to be cliche, to keep the dream alive. It's like it's you've got to keep having fun. You can't let it become work or a chore. There needs to be some element of enjoyment, because if you're not enjoying yourself, if you're not having fun, then your audience will know that, and your audience will see that, and they won't enjoy it either.
So how do you balance that like fun aspect with the like, I don't know, rigor of a practice room, and your professors at the conservatorium saying put in the hours, like grind this out, work on this technique, and that stuff can become so laborious. And lots of people talk about going through music school and losing their passion for music because it became all those things that you're talking about, like not wanting it to become something where you lose excitement for the dream, and it just becomes like this hardworking burden of I've got to practice so much every day, and people lose the passion. But you like have so much of it; it's just like radiating from you.
Yeah, I think doing pieces that you enjoy doing, or at least trying to do fun pieces, is always something. Like, if you enjoy doing the music you're doing, then you're going to enjoy working on it. You're going to enjoy trying to perfect it because you want to sing it really well. And of course, you're not always going to get the choice to just sing music that you love. But I guess you will do your pieces that you do out for your course. I guess with us as singers, we have the choice, or I guess with all musicians for our recitals, we get to choose what we want to do. So balancing it with pieces that you're going to find fun, and maybe pieces that you don't find as much joy in, but like it's a good piece to have in there. It can be a really nice balance. But also, if you're working on something that's not as enjoyable, having like a piece that you're just messing around with for fun, that is like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do this yet. This is like a years down the track piece. But every so often, just pulling out and go, I wonder how much my technique has developed in a way that makes it that I can sing this slightly better now. Or like, I guess we call it, or like bedroom arias. It's like having arias you sing in your bedroom.
Yeah.
You can't perform it yet. You can't perform it anyway because it doesn't sound great at the moment because you don't have the technique to do it. But having it just being like, yeah, this is a dream piece. I want to sing this piece. I can't sing it yet. I'll sing it eventually when my technique gets there. But it's just fun to like mess around with, and crack on top notes, and it doesn't sound great. It sounds like a cat screaming sometimes, but at least I'll get it eventually. And every 6 months or 3 months or whatever, just pulling out and going, I wonder if my technique's gotten better, while you're working on something that maybe isn't your favorite piece in the world.
Yeah. How do you go with your household and neighbors when you just want to, or you have to practice some of these things that maybe don't sound so great yet, but that's part of getting there?
It's a lot of, when I'm with my family, warning them. Yeah, or shutting the doors, practicing within a reasonable time for a noise level, so that the neighbors don't make noise complaints. So a good 9 to 5 on weekdays, maybe 6 if you're pushing it. We can't really mute our voices, I guess, or make it softer if we're trying to perfect it. I mean, we can sing soft, but if you're working on something, sometimes it's not healthy to sing really softly all the time, because it can affect your voice, and your health, your vocal health, and your technique. So we don't really get the option of putting mutes in, or socks in the ends of our instruments or anything.
You could wrap a big pillow around your head or something
screaming into pillows. But yeah, it's just, I guess, making sure that you're doing it within a reasonable time, that you can be expected to make reasonable amounts of noise in.
Yeah.
Midnight is not a great time to practice. But I think my family are pretty used to me. I mean, if it's not me practicing, it's my dad practicing. So I don't know how my mum feels about it, but yeah, it's just doing it and being conscious that we are quite loud as singers. Singing is quite loud, and yeah, just doing your best, shutting doors, making sure the windows are closed. And just, I guess, making sure we're making a respectful effort to not annoy people outside. I mean, I have had people apparently come to the gate and say, "Oh, I can always hear this singing, and it's really lovely." I'm like, "Wow, you're only really hearing the good bits of it, I guess." Because it's I guess warming up is not always the most beautiful thing in the world. I would say that as singers, we do some pretty funny things to warm up and make all sorts of noises. So I think that would alarm people if they heard that and outside, what's going on? Is someone dying? Is someone screaming? Who's being who's murdering a cat? All sorts of things.
So if we put your university performances and stuff aside, you've been involved in quite a few different performances, from main character roles and chorus members and other performances. What have been some highlights for you that have been really special?
Yeah, so I debuted in my first lead role in an opera last year as Zerlina in Don Giovanni, put on by BK Opera. So that was really exciting. I got to do it alongside one of my good friends from uni as well, Leyland Jones, playing opposite from me. So that was really special. It was really a great experience because we're good friends. We're mates, and we get to work together, and it's so lovely to be able to do that with your uni mates. Is just wow, I'm in an opera, I can, and you have that chemistry already, so it's really easy to bounce off of. But no, that was an amazing experience. It was really lovely. It was a really different production, I would say, to the normal version of Don Giovanni. And it was put on by a smaller company, but it's still a lead role. It performing in the lead role it's amazing. It's an incredible feeling, especially like your first one, it's going, wow, I'm actually doing this. Like,
Yeah.
chorus work is so fun. I love chorus work, and I've done quite a few choruses in operas, and they're always really fun. It's group work. It's enjoyable. You're part of the scene, and I enjoy that as well. But wow, if you want to, because not everybody wants to do lead role work. Some people do just love being in the chorus, and overseas as well, there are full-time chorus gigs and that people do and they really enjoy. But for people who are aiming for like roles in operas, it just going, wow, I've gotten a gig, I've landed this role, and like being able to do it and then learn that role was such an amazing experience. And being able to have that experience, I guess, in like Melbourne, and like I guess I wouldn't say so young, but like it's quite special, I guess, and like being able to get all my family and friends to come see and be like, hey, I'm doing this production, come see me, I'm so excited, and like I'm having a great time. And yeah, it's just the excitement that was really so magical, and I really enjoyed it.
I was reading like some reviews and things from the performance, and I thought it was interesting how, like, you know, one of them was talking about how, like, because it was this alternate version and you being like a petite character and stuff, like really like brought out like this whole sort of like different interesting element.
Yeah, I love that review. I've being called this tiny person with a long,
how does that feel?
A long razor. Well, it was from so this production used an alternate scene that isn't often done in most main productions. It's I guess an extra scene that Mozart wrote, where Zerlina, the character I was playing, confronts Leporello, who is Don Giovanni's right-hand man, because Zerlina thinks that Leporello has fought and beaten up her husband when it was actually Don Giovanni disguised as Leporello, but she thinks that it's Leporello, and she absolutely was like, how dare you, and like ties him to a chair and like threatens him with a razor. And I think it was so fun. It was such a fun sort of scene to do, because you get to do things on stage that I guess you wouldn't normally do in real life. And I'm this tiny like person. I'm not very tall, and like our Leporellos were like probably like a good like head and a bit taller than me. So it's like going, wow, it is quite empowering. But yeah, the tiny person with a long razor is a good sort of fun quote. Like, I'm like, yeah, wouldn't describe me as that otherwise, apart from being on stage in this role. But no, it was really fun. I am like, I know that I am quite small as a person, so I know that a lot of the time there is that added like, sometimes if people want a certain like height between two characters, that it can be that they often want someone taller, or because it is, again, unfortunately, like a lot of the time, not only do you have to have the skill as a singer and the technique, that you also need to have the right look for a performance. So it is very often that you need to have both. You can't just have one or the other, because they are looking for certain people for certain roles. And that is like very important to note. But we hope that it like, you know, it does work out that technique overlooks, but sometimes it doesn't always work out that way. And yeah, it was really interesting. But yeah, I don't think it had too much difference. I really enjoyed the reviews. I thought they were really interesting, especially for the way we were doing it, I guess.
Yeah.
because again, it was not your normal production of it. It was very, I guess, bit more grungy, a bit more edgy. It's not the typical like world in which Mozart wrote Don Giovanni for the bourgeoisie and stuff.
Don't let your tea get too cold.
Yeah.
Because I know you rushed here, so like we can have a small tea break. I was thinking about like how you said not everybody wants to be the lead when there are like lots of chorus roles. Where do you see yourself in 5-10 years? Like, what are your goals?
Yeah, so I would love to be working in Europe at the time. I would love to be working there, trying to get some roles in opera houses. Chorus is always a great experience. Having experience on your CV, so important. They want to see that you've been in shows, that you have successfully auditioned for things, regardless of whether it's a chorus role or a small part. But hopefully in 5 or 10 years, I am doing some work in Europe, because for opera, that is basically the center of the universe. There is so much more work in Europe for classical musicians, especially like opera singers. In Germany, most major cities have at least one opera house. So there is a lot more work. In Australia, we're very limited with how many opera companies there are, or major ones at least. And so you will, I guess that's why a lot of people go over to Europe or America for work. And I'd love to see myself hopefully doing the audition circuit in Europe and getting some roles, hopefully. But I guess it takes time. You just got to keep trying and keep going.
Have you found that like you've been able to find some mentors and some senior people in the classical scene to support you in your goals?
Yeah, absolutely. My singing teacher, Suzanne Johnston, is just such an amazing support. She's really been there for me. She's been really supportive in what I'm trying to achieve. We at the classical community recently lost a good mentor, Dean Sky Lucas. He really supported the industry, and unfortunately he passed away last year. But he was just such a massive support to a lot of young singers, and was a really dear mentor to me as well. Unfortunately, unfortunately, I guess we won't really notice his loss until the year really progresses on. He did so much work for the industry, and that there's such a loss there now. But yeah, there are so many, like all my professors at uni as well. All of our teachers are really, really lovely. I think they're very supportive of us. They push us to be who we want to be. Like they will absolutely push us, because we need a bit of a push to get there. Or like even just to just to give us the support we need, and they are there for us, and they're very supportive of what we do. So yeah, it's really exciting.
How many other young voice students are there that are like part of your cohort that are either being similarly supportive or intensely like competitive about trying to get performance roles, and what's that been like?
Yeah, I would say that we are all really supportive of each other. I think that if we aren't, that we should be. If people are being really competitive, of course it is competitive, but we should all be really supportive of each other. We're all in this industry together. Like, we can't perform without each other, basically. Because it is just, I guess there are quite a few of us. there's also the Monash also has a program, a classical voice program, but I'm at Melbourne, obviously. But there are so many of us, but we do kind of all need each other, because if we're not performing, then no one's performing. So if we can't really be like, we've got to be supportive of each other, because if our industry, classical music, it is sort of, well, we hope not, but it is sort of a bit of a dying genre, because I guess a lot of young people see it as old people music, and a lot that we are losing support of people going to our concerts, to our operas, because it is, I guess, a genre that, yeah, it is seen as like something that is not, like, it's not mainstream unless you're like listening to, like, you know, the music in classical music that's in like movies and TV shows, and, you know, the cliche like Pachelbel's canon for every wedding, and or when you know, pop music sometimes uses like classical music as their base to go off. Yeah, speaking of Pachelbel's, Memories by Maroon 5 is Pachelbel's canon in D, and like, and so I can't listen to that song because I hear it and I go, oh god, oh goodness, it's like because Pachelbel's canon is just played every instance you hear is just Pachelbel's canon and nothing else. But it's, if we need to support each other as musicians and the industry, because we are the ones basically keeping it alive. Because often, more times than not, us as musicians are going to other people's classical performances because we are interested in that art form, we're interested in that music. But if we're all competitive and we're trying to go for roles at the same time, yes, you will find yourselves at the same auditions, at the same places, and like trying for the same companies, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't support each other and be just like, oh, I didn't get that audition, this person got that audition, that's okay. I think that is like, you just have to kind of go, okay, maybe they were more suited this time, or what can I do? Like, where did I go wrong in this audition? Or like, maybe not where did I go wrong, what can I improve on? But still being like, oh, I'm not going to go see them because I didn't get that role or something, or I didn't get that gig, I'm not going to go see them. No, you go, you turn up and you support, because otherwise they're not going to, the gig's not going to happen. It might get cancelled. There are opera companies or gigs that get or performances that get cancelled that that sometimes because the ticket sales fell through, or there isn't enough funding for them, and that is really sad to see, and it's really upsetting, because sometimes people have been working on the music, on the program for a while, and then it might get cancelled a few weeks before it happens, and it's like quite upsetting to see, because you know that, oh, that company, that group might not do that concert again, or, you know, people get disheartened when they can't perform, or like they've been working so hard on something and suddenly it falls through. And I guess that is throughout the music industry, regardless of genre, that you just have to support each other as musicians.
What do you think the like future is for classical music in Australia? Like, do you want to go to Europe because as like well as the opportunities, there's also like the history, and that's where the composers were, and you know all the other pieces have been. And do you think that Australia will just sort of, I don't know, potentially fizzle? Like, or do you think that there's just a contemporary growing scene that's just different to your passions?
No, absolutely. There is still a lot of musicians in Australia. There's a lot of really great contemporary classical Australian composers. who are composing new music in Australia, and we should also be supporting new music and composers so that we have a constant stream of new music, because yes, we all love the classics, but if you're not supporting new music, the art form is not going to evolve. But the art form here, the industry here will not fizzle, I don't think. Well, I hope it does not, because I think we are trying, or like companies are trying new methods to engage younger audiences, and like either through the use of social media, I know that Victorian Opera often has like $30 for people under 30, like for tickets, or concession tickets are always amazing, like in terms of like, oh, it's a cheaper ticket, maybe a student will go see it because we're in a cost of living crisis. Like a lot of people don't have the money to go see shows. That I know that is also an impact on like maybe the ticket sales not being as high as a company or a group wants it to be. But it is like, it will not fizzle because there is so much love. Yes, we all go, a lot of people go to Europe, but a lot of people come back and then perform here, or make a footing in Europe to be able to come back and perform here, and really love doing classical music here, because it is so important. I think it won't fizzle out in Australia, or at least I hope so, but it is, as with any music, people have to go out and see it. You have to go out and make the effort, or like try and just go in and out and enjoy music and listen to it.
Yeah, we had Megan Burslem on the podcast as one of our like very early guests, and it was really like, I don't know, interesting and encouraging. And she expressed like some similar things to you, like, oh, like there is all of these new classical composers, and there is a great classical scene, whether it be like instrumental or chamber or orchestra or choral works. Like there are people that are constantly creating things, but perhaps it's just not in the popular vernacular as much as it was. So like what efforts should be made to keep these different art forms alive and find out which ones you might actually really enjoy, or maybe that composer was in like a film that you really like, or a video game. Like there's so much classical music that it's not old, it's all still new, but like it can be like really segmented off as like something else that's like in the background. But if you actually like investigate it, you can go and see it live and find out who is creating new works. And yeah, it was so great to like hear you express it like that.
Yeah, absolutely. When you think about it, what is the music in most film scores or TV shows? Oftentimes it is orchestral music or choral music. If it's look at Game of Thrones, look at all of like the most like recent like epic fantasy series, they will have some sort of epic orchestral choral soundtrack when there's a big battle and something important. That is classical music. You are listening to classical music, and you might go, oh my god, I really love that, I'm going to download it, I'm going to like stream it, I'm going to listen to it. And that is really important too, because you are hearing new music, you are hearing classical music basically every day. If you're streaming a show on Netflix and there is some sort of background music that is not like a mainstream pop song, or like a pop song, or it's like a soundtrack, they're using like a song that they really like, a contemporary song, there will often be like some sort of background music that is there, even if you are not aware of it, because I think as people, as humans, we don't like silence really. If you're like watching a show and they're just talking, you might not notice the music, but the music might be there, it might be a drone. I remember this one lecture at uni, we were told to we were listening to a movie soundtrack, and our professor was like, put up your hand when you think the music starts. And we all put up our hands when we started hearing the music come in, and he told us, no, you're wrong, because it came in 30 seconds early because there was a drone underneath it. It didn't start. So there is always some form of music, I believe, most of the time, unless they are using silence as an effect to amplify something. Like a horror film will often use like complete silence because that's really eerie. That's really like creepy and unsettling. That there is nothing in the background. It is just like either like the footsteps or like the echoing or the tap dripping or something. But also, it's going out and making the effort to hear new music as well. If like checking, like we have social media now. We have the internet. It's like maybe going on Spotify or like going on at whatever streaming service you're using and going through like the new music or like listening to the radio. I know that's not something like I hope a lot of people still listen to the radio, but like the radio is like Triple J, ABC Classic, all of these different radio stations will often play new music that is being produced throughout the world and in Australia. And going out to different gigs, even if it's like just a pub gig or for classical music, going and checking what's on, like Tempo Rubato, or like a lot of places will have like new music studios or will, in terms of like the new classical music, I'm friends with some really great composers as well. But it's seeing what's on, maybe, just discovering new music, seeing, and like, if you're really going, I think I want to listen to some more contemporary classical music or new contemporary Australian music, it's just so important to actually make an effort to discover new music or try and check it out.
Yeah. I think I was having this conversation separate to the podcast, but it was with someone of a couple generations older than me, and they were talking about how much they like coming home and putting on the television because everything's curated for them. And I was like, I would never do that. I'll just like queue up the show that I want. And I recently swapped from Spotify across to Tidal.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting going, there was so much music that I was listening to that was just put in front of me by like Spotify's algorithm.
Yeah.
Rather than me exploring this album and then looking up who played the drums on it or who was singing or who wrote it and then following the trail like I used to do with CDs.
Yeah.
And it's like if you just become super passive, all of a sudden the only thing you get is what like a mega corporation is going to put in front of you. You don't actually have like any autonomy, even though it feels like choice.
Yeah, I think we have so much music available to us at the moment, but if we don't take the steps to maybe go outside our comfort zone and find something that's like different, that we won't really get out of that, or like going, I'm listening to the same like 5 artists, or like, more than 5 artists, but like these are my 5 artists, maybe going, what influenced by them, or like what influenced them, what is influenced by them, what is similar to their music, or going, you know what, I'm gonna go find something new, or like go and check out something that I'm like, I've never listened to this person before, I'm gonna go check them out. Or I think with sheet music as well, or like finding a new composer, is going, I really like this piece, what else have they written that maybe I can sing, maybe I can perform. And then I think as classical musicians, our job is to also like show music that we like singing to audiences. Maybe they haven't heard that piece before, and that's really interesting to like hear it as like for an audience. We're going, I really like this song cycle, I'm going to perform it. And then other people in the audience might go, I really like that, I'm going to listen to that more, or I'm going to find a recording of it. And I guess, live music is a great way to discover artists and songs you like and pieces you like.
You mentioned sheet music, and here's just like a seriously random question.
Yeah.
Can you look at a piece of sheet music and hear what it sounds like?
Oh no, I can't do that. I guess I can sight read pretty well. I would say that I need to definitely improve my sight reading, but that is a skill. It is a mental muscle. It does take time. I sing in a choir, and I find that has really helped with my sight reading. I think that is such an important skill to have for singers, to be able to sight read, to be able to like look at music and go, okay, I have a vague idea of how this will go, but maybe I might need to like play it through once at a keyboard, or just have a starting note and then try and figure it out. But no, I can't go, oh, I know exactly what this sounds like, unless I know the piece already. Like I've heard it or I've sung it before. I go, oh yeah, I've seen that. I know how this goes.
Yeah, it triggers the memory.
Yeah, but like I can't I can't go, oh yeah, I know how this sounds, but in a vague sense. If I can sight read it, then a little bit, but not really. I have to say, I really do have to improve that a bit more.
How do you feel about being a soprano?
Oh, I love it. I love singing all the high notes. It's my favorite part of I guess my job is like, my job is high notes. That's it.
It seems like the best role.
Yeah, well, I'm biased. So I'm biased. I'm very biased. I would absolutely say it's the best role because we get all the fun parts, but that's not always true. I think all voice types have really, really fun bits. Like, I have one piece that I always wish that I was a bass for. Like, I'm like, one of the movements of the St. Matthew Passion, Komm Süße Kreuz, I think it is, if I've remembered properly. It has this amazing viola da gamba solo at the start of the movement, and I'm like, I want to be a bass because I want to sing this specific aria. I want to sing this song, this piece, and I would absolutely, if I could be a bass for a day, I would do that. But like, I think every voice part has really fun bits that you just go, oh, I wish I could sing that. Or like, and they're like really like fun roles, I think, for every voice type. And I guess some of them you'll find that they're like a bit stereotyped. So like sometimes basses will be like the evil, the evil guy, and you know, deep voice, and you know, or you know, might be the comedian because you know, or like, you know, tenors are always like the heroes or like the good guys, and often altos they or like mezzo sopranos get like they either get like witches or they get like old people, like old ladies, and like but I really love it because I really love the witch in Hansel and Gretel. I think that's a really cool part, and I'm like, oh, I would love to do that, but unfortunately I cannot. But like, I think every voice type gets a really good like good roles, and I think I guess I'm biased because I love being a soprano. I love the high notes, but I think every voice part gets to have a bit of fun. Every voice type gets to have some fun, and I think in classical music we have voice types. They're called Fachs, and so all the voice types are split up even more from like soprano, mezzo, tenor, and bass. So I'm training to be, or like hopefully I will turn out to be a light lyric coloratura.
Okay.
Which basically means I can sing very high and I can sing with a lot of agility in my voice.
Right.
And I'm on the lighter side of the singing spectrum in terms of like, we have like lyric voices and dramatic voices. Dramatic voices are heavier, they're a bit darker in their sound, but not always. They're very like, very much of a generalization, and it is a bit of a rigid system, especially in Germany. A lot of the time, you'll be cast for only certain roles because that is what your voice type says you can do. Mm-hmm. And a lot of like opera houses go, okay, you're doing these roles in this season because that is your, and like, and oftentimes they are roles that are generally like. But there are some crossovers, but like lyric is on the like lighter side of the voice, and dramatic is like not heavier, but they're more like set, very like dark voices.
How does it like work with your like ability to do what you can do? Like in one way it seems like super freeing because it's like you have this innate natural ability to sing, you know, within this range, and if you work and practice really hard then you can become virtuosic and extend your range a bit here and there, but it like is all around what suits you and your voice. But then you've got like the other spectrum of like, say, most other instruments where you could learn to play any of those roles. Like the saxophone, you could buy one of any of the different saxophones and like learn and perfect it. So you're sort of like stuck with one thing, but at the same time, that thing is you.
Yeah, I guess. But I feel like all saxophonists have different pieces that they sound better playing at. Also, like because I guess
so true.
Even as instruments, we all have different sounds, and it's, I guess, finding out what sound works for you. I guess even as a singer,
that's lovely.
Like finding out like what works for you, in your voice, and I guess not trying to be anything your voice, like, because if you force your voice to do something, sure, it might sound nice to you, but we all have to know that we sound different to ourselves than we do to our audience. Oftentimes we might not sound the best to us because like if we're singing so high, it is so like in our heads that it just sounds so bright, but it's the right like sure. acoustics or like the right sound further out, because of course opera most of the time is not mic'd, so we are aiming for the right, like the back of the hall, so it has to sound good at the back of the hall. If we're sounding good here most of the time, we're probably not sounding as great at the back, because it's knowing how the acoustics work, I guess. Like it's not, I guess, not forcing it is the main thing, and letting, well, of course you have to develop your technique and improve it and work on it, but not forcing your technique to sound one way or the other, and just letting it develop naturally as well, but doing it in a healthy way. And I guess forcing it is not the right word, but like you'll be developing it, and the voice is a muscle. We just have to let it grow. It gets stronger, it develops, it strengthens, and we figure out what works for us, I guess.
There's been like this growing trend in the podcast that we've been asking for like worst performance stories.
I don't know if I have one yet. Actually, no, I do have one.
Yeah,
I remember.
You happy to share?
Yes, I do. It actually fixed my stage fright, I think. So
okay.
it's a bit of a
super positive outcome.
And negative story. It was it was for my high school's 70th anniversary concert. I got invited back as a guest soloist for it, and I was doing a piece with the orchestra and choir and standing in front of it, and I was standing there. We got on stage, they lifted the curtain, and then they realized that the amp for the keyboard was not on, and we were waiting for the note. So I had to, Hamer Hall was full, and I was standing there for probably 5 minutes in front of this orchestra, just putting on like the most like, yes, I'm so calm. I couldn't look behind me because it's like, I can't be unprofessional. I need to like just, but there was just standing on the stage. Like as the curtain lifted up, my heart was like racing out my chest. I was like, oh my God. Because it was, I think, probably one of the biggest performances I've done as a soloist yet. To do on Hamer Hall, it's crazy. And it's like, curtains right, I'm like, heart's beating out of my chest. And I'm like, oh my God, what's happening? Like, I'm not going to, I was like glancing like out of like my peripheral to see what happens. Nothing is going on. There's no sound. I'm just like, but I think it's because you can't do anything in that moment. I cannot fix that. You just have to wait for it to happen. So I think it was really like calming. It fixed me, like my performance, because I was really quite anxious. I was like, no, I can't actually do anything. I think I've just got to stand here for 5 minutes, and it actually was like really calm. So I got that 5 minutes to really center myself and get used to standing in front of an audience of people that, you know, like all around you in Hamer Hall, and so that really centered, and it really, I think it broke my performance anxiety, or like most of it, because it's like, what do you do in that situation? You just can't do anything.
No, it's like a super extreme like dose of exposure therapy.
Yes. I got reports from some of my fellow alumni later that they were laughing, or like trying so hard not to laugh at me just standing there, and there's nothing happening. It's silence. The audience has already clapped us. There's no sound until it starts. And like was laughing so hard, or trying not to laugh so hard, that they just started crying because they were like, we can't laugh. And I was like, don't worry, me too. Like,
well done on overcoming that and the performance. I assume everything went smoothly once the technical problems were fixed.
Yes, as soon as the technical problem was fixed, because apparently the power wasn't working, or the amp wasn't on, or something, and they couldn't figure out what was going on. But as soon as it started, the performance was lovely. It went really well. It was a beautiful night overall. Just that small moment of going, okay, so this is what we're doing now. We're just going to stand here and take some deep breaths, and I don't know what's going on behind me. I'm in front of the orchestra, and just like, okay. Yeah, so it was a really lovely performance. It was just that small moment of going, okay, this is what we're doing now.
We've got a question for you from our segment about questions for the next guest.
Yeah.
So the previous guest was Kian, this amazing singer, and this is her question for you.
I think going back to like the yarns, or the thought I was having about how country can be like another musician, or like, inform your writing or how you're recording. I'd love to know. Yeah, I'd love to hear a story about that. Like if you've been somewhere and written a song about country, or like heard something special, just like going on a hike or being at the beach or something, and how that's played into your music or inspired your music, or
so I'm not a songwriter. I am not the best at composing music, as discovered through multiple music composing like little assignment subjects at university, that it is not my strong point. I just sing it, but I find that nature is just I love going outside and being in like the bush and like going on hikes. It is so refreshing. It is so nice, and just like being out in the fresh air and like away from the city for a bit is just so relaxing and de-stressing. And I think that it is, and so many songs are written about nature as well. So many pieces in music as well. In classical music, a lot of art song cycles are like written about music. So one of the most famous, I guess, is Schubert's Die Müllerin cycle, which is all about the miller and the brook. So he wrote it basically around the story of it was a bunch of poems that he wrote text to that were all about this journey, about this brook and this miller, the mill, and like that path and that journey. And I think nature is so important in writing, and has such an influence on composers, because I think nature in itself has music. It is like intrinsically musical. Birdsong, the wind has music. The river like that is all music. It might not be like what you typically would think of, like, oh, you know, there's not really like, is there a rhythm? Is there like tone? Yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah, nature is so important, and it is such a great tool for musicians, maybe not as inspiration, but also as a way to, I guess, escape for a little bit, just be somewhere calming and just breathe, I guess.
Yeah. I would like to know what question you would like to ask the next guest.
That is a tough one, I guess. What? I guess. Oh, sorry. I just don't know.
No, it's okay. I can cut out some thinking time, so don't stress.
Yeah. I guess, why is music so important to you? What is your what is how, like, what does it feel like, or like what is, why are you doing this, I guess, in a way? Like, we all do it because we love it, but I think there is like why is it special to you? What do you hold in music, I guess?
I've got to ask you the same question now that you've opened that. I'd love to know.
Well, I love music. It's like my heart. I just feel like I can't escape it. I think it's just such an intrinsic part of me, part of my life, my family, my history, that it's just so special. And I am so lucky that I get to share my music and my ability to perform music with my grandfather Bob, and my dad Mal, and like having that ability to share that with them, and share that love of performing music with them. And I just feel so connected to it as a person. Like I want to say I'm made of music, but I feel like music is just a huge part of who I am today.
Thanks so much for sharing. This chat's been amazing.
Well, thank you for having me.
Well, you're like, you know, it's been so good to like have this moment to dive into your part of like the music scene here in Australia. And yeah, like thanks for excusing my naivety and like not knowing the lingo enough. But it's been like especially encouraging, I think, to hear like how much passion you have for music and how you've developed and grown, and like all the the possibilities of like where you're going to go to next in your music career. It's it's really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And no worries. I feel like music is music no matter what it is. And even if you are not aware, or I guess as informed in air quotation marks, like about classical music, you don't have to be. You can just enjoy it for the sake of enjoyment. You don't have to be like, oh well, I know this and I am so like informed and researched, because yes, that is also a way to enjoy it. I do that as well. I love researching. I love history. It's such a huge passion of mine as well. But you can just enjoy music for the sake of enjoying music. You don't have to know everything about it to enjoy it, I think.
So are there going to be any like upcoming Sedergreen collaborations of
I'm
classical
not
and jazz?
sure. I don't know. We'll have to see where it leads.
Exciting.
Yeah.
I was thinking of, do you know, this is really random, but El Giro's live album from like the mid-90s, where it's like Steve Gadd and Joe Sample and Marcus Miller and David Sanborn. And then there's one song in there where he does like a duet with the classical singer. And which song is it? Oh, it might be My Favorite Things from The Sound of Music.
Yeah, I haven't listened to it, but that would be one of the ones that I feel like would be for classical music.
Is that like a song that classical people would sing normally?
I guess sometimes. I think with some of the older musical theatre and opera,
Oh, yeah.
or like crossover, like Gershwin and Bernstein, they're all classical composers in quotation marks, because they are that crossover. They did both, but I think the biggest example is Summertime. It is considered now a jazz standard, but it came from the opera Porgy and Bess.
Yeah.
So it is
that's right.
an amazing piece that you can hear both. There is a great version from, I think it's Angel Blue doing it at the Met on YouTube, of her doing, I guess, the traditional rendition of Summertime, and then you can go and listen to Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong do Summertime, and it's like, this is the same piece in two completely different styles. And I think that is so interesting that you have all of this crossover, because some jazz standards now came from more classical influences, but Summertime, I think, is the more well-known one of that crossover.
All right, we should finish with the 5 quick answer questions.
Sure.
What is your favourite venue to play in Melbourne?
Oh, this is a tough one. I think I haven't performed in a heap of venues, but I do quite like either the Melbourne Recital Centre or Hanson Dyer Hall at the Melbourne Conservatorium of Music, which is the hall we perform in at uni, which is really lovely.
Is that on Royal Parade, the like white building?
No, that's the old con. So we're at the new Conservatorium of Music, which is at the back of the Recital Centre off Sturt Street.
Oh, cool. Okay, you should invite me to a recital, and
yeah,
I'd love
absolutely.
to come and see. Sorry, I was just remembering some seriously funny recitals that I saw at the old con.
Oh yeah.
Do you know Tim Mallis?
Yes, I do know Tim.
Tim had like this choral piece for his final composition recital, and it was just like a vocal quartet, but singing like the most random music and lyrics because he thought it was funny, and like it was funny, but it's just, when things come into your head. I should probably cut this out of the podcast, but sorry. So what would be your dream venue to play?
I'd have to say La Scala or in Milan or the Met in New York.
What? I don't know anything about La Scala. Is that a place of like significance?
Yeah, it is one of, if not like the biggest opera houses or like most popular opera houses in the world.
Wow.
It is just this beautiful, beautiful theatre, and it is. It's been around for yonks. So like it is so. Like, there is so much history there, like so many great Italian composers of the 19th century, had to remember, I think it was when it started gaining, or like it was built, had their premieres there, and it is, it's just the most beautiful stage, and it is like basically the peak, well, one of the peaks you can reach in opera to sing at La Scala.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
What is an opera house, by the way?
Yeah.
Because you said it like it was a venue, but when you were saying it before, it sounded more like it was like the company.
It can be both.
Okay.
So you have the house. It that is the house. So the house will put on operas at their house. So
okay. Right.
La Scala is an opera house, and so they will have an opera company, I guess, like. But that is like they'll have the ballet, the opera, and an orchestra. Most likely, most houses have all of these as part of them, and so you will get hired by the house to perform these roles, and that is your contract.
Is it like a contract for a string of like a run of shows, or like
it can be?
I don't know. You're employed for the year.
Yeah, it depends. You can be hired, so you have an audition, and the house will be like, okay, so in this year, you were doing these shows for our house. But it depends, because you can work for one house, or you can freelance and have like multiple houses around Europe that you're performing at.
In Australia, would you join like, I don't know, the chorus and just be a full-time chorus singer for whatever they decide to put on, or is it more like a one thing at a time?
It really depends. For chorus work, I think you are hired outright for it, but you will be told which shows you're doing, because you might not be in every show. But for lead singers, you are most likely you're hired on show basis. So you will be hired for a role rather than hired for a season.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any interest in doing like choral work, like separate to the opera where it's performance, like in a choir or alongside an orchestra?
Yeah, absolutely. Choral music is so important to our art form, and community singing and group singing. I think it's so important. I love singing in like choirs. I think it is just the most beautiful thing. Because you're making music together and you're performing these pieces that are just amazing. I think I really enjoy that as well, apart from just doing solo work, because I think it's just fun and it's a great thing to do. And as I said before, singing in choirs is helps improve your sight reading. I sing in a choir every week at St. John's East Melbourne, and we will do different pieces every week. So we might only have a week or maybe 2 weeks to learn a work if it's not for a bigger performance or service that we're working up to. And that is like, it is just nice. You're singing new music every week, you're performing every week. And even if it's not as a soloist, you're still performing, you're still singing. And that is really lovely. And you don't have to be, I guess, the best singer in the world to join a choir, because it's more about the whole sound rather than your individual sound.
Mm-hmm. All right, sorry, we've sidetracked from
Yes.
the wrap up.
That's
but
all good.
This was super interesting. What is your coffee order?
Oh, I am not a huge coffee drinker, but when I do want a coffee, I will get an oat mocha.
What is your favorite place to get food after a gig in Melbourne?
Blondie's. It's so good, and it's so near like our uni, and we'll often go out for a drink or like just a bite to eat after a concert at uni or just something. It's nice. I do love Blondie's. They have really nice chips.
Final question. What is one piece of advice that you would give to your younger self?
This is a tough one. I actually have two. One of them is keep learning French, because I did French in year 7 and 8 of high school, and this is when I wanted to still be in musical theatre. I did not like French. I did not like the French class, and so I dropped French. I really need French now. So I would love for my younger self to keep learning French, because you need it now, and that is something. And my second piece of advice that is more serious, I guess, is just let it happen. Don't force it. Just everything will make sense in time, and you will get where you need to be, but you just need to let it happen.
That's really special. And thank you so much for being so open and sharing your passion for music and the life force that it clearly has for you. Thanks so much for this, Maya.
Yeah, thank you, Luke. It's been really lovely.